I can't even make this up. In college, I had a stalker leave dead birds on my car more than once. Let's talk about it. The story is crazy, and I keep getting told I need to post it, so here we are. This happened in 2021, I think, and I was an RA at an apartment complex. It wasn't a super typical RA position. What we did most was plan events, and I was actually the events manager, so I was in charge of helping plan all these fun events we did, and we really did have some really cool ones. So it was the summer, and during the summer, it was like every Wednesday we showed a movie in this courtyard. We'd set up a big projector screen and have food and snacks and decorate it themed to the movie, and it was really, really fun. So there was this one kid that started coming to these events, and for the story's sake, let's call him Jacob. He started coming to all the events, and he definitely seemed like a little bit shy, a little bit like on the outskirts, but that's fine, and that's literally my job, is to be nice to these people, and I do pride myself in trying to be really nice to people, especially if they do seem a little bit left out or lonely. So he started coming to these events. Something about him is he always wore this same sweatshirt, okay? And it was bright red, so it was easy enough to keep track of him. So it was a movie night, and I was doing my job. I was, you know, helping other RAs and just setting up this event, talking to residents, all of that. And he comes up to me and just was asking my name, and I was talking to him, and again, kind of awkward, but like, that's fine. Wasn't really thinking too much of it, and then I went back to my job and was walking around, and I kind of noticed that he started to like linger around me, and like if I moved across the courtyard, all of a sudden he was across the courtyard. And as a girl, you just know when you get that feeling that you kind of need to like keep track of somebody, and that was me at that point. But I was like, and I honestly was like, I'm probably just reading into it, but just kind of keeping a subtle eye, because he just was all around the place. So I talked to one of my guy coworkers that I was there with, and I just was like, hey, here's kind of what's happening. I don't know if this is weird or not, but I just wanted to tell somebody because I kind of just felt like I was being watched or followed just a little bit. So he told me, he was like, if he talks to you and like tries to like ask you out or something, just like tell him I'm your boyfriend. And I loved this coworker. He was literally so nice. We were always really, really good friends. So I was like, perfect, thank you. So sure enough, 10 minutes later, Jacob comes up to me and he's like talking to me a bunch, and he says, hey, like, do you want to go to a movie sometime? It'd be fun to go on like a date. And I was like, oh, like, haha, I have a boyfriend over there. And I point at my friend just because I just was getting weird vibes. And then he was like, well, why does that matter? Like, we could still go on a date even if you have a boyfriend. And I was like, that's kind of weird. And he just was getting pushy. And then he was like, at least let me get your number. And at that point, I just was uncomfortable. And so I gave him my phone number. So I was like, you know, I can just not respond and whatever. So I gave him my phone number. That satisfied him. He walked away. I honestly forgot about this encounter for a month or two because he never texted me, and I didn't really see him much after that. He didn't try to talk to me. Like, I'd see him randomly across the parking lot. He'd never say anything. I've been known to be a little bit wary of guys, so I was like, I'm probably just overthinking the whole thing. So another big part about being an RA is someone's always on call, meaning if it's like late at night and somebody's locked out of their apartment, they can call this number and it will transfer them through to the on-call RA so they can go bring their master keys and let this person into their room. So like I said, this was my third year at this program, and I was a manager at this point, so I wasn't the on-call RA. But one night I get a phone call, and it's from a random number, and it has the same like prefix as the number that's the on-call one. And I was like, I don't know why this is going to me. So I answer it because that's my job, and I'm like, whoever, you know, I'll just tell them, hey, I'm not the on-call RA, I'll direct them there, and crisis averted. So I answer it. I'm literally in bed, like about to go to sleep, and it's Jacob. And he's like, hey, Megan. And I instantly recognized his voice. It was a very distinctive voice, okay? And I'm like, oh, shoot. Because I wouldn't have answered the phone if I knew it was him, but he had never texted me, so I'd never saved his number or anything. And it had been like 2 months since that first interaction. At this point, I'm on the phone, and I'm like, I can't just not talk to him. So I'm like, oh, hey, what's up? And he's like, hey, like, I'm just like really kind of frustrated with you. I was like, what? What do you mean? And he was like, well, at all these movie events, you never talk to me. And I was like, oh, like, you know, part of my job is I have to talk to everybody. Like, I can't just stand around and speak to everybody. Just kind of trying to talk my way out of this because I was like, he did give me kind of scary vibes. And also I'm like, yes, I was avoiding him just because I got weird vibes. Sorry, you felt like that, whatever. And at this point, I should have just been like, okay, good night. But I wasn't because I was trying to be nice. And he's like, well, I have to tell you something. And I'm like, okay, what? And he goes, I can't even make this up. I'm gonna have to censor these words for TikTok, but he goes, I have struggled for the longest time with, you get what I'm saying? And I can't really get out of it. And at this point, I'm like listening to this, my phone's on speaker, and I'd been texting one of my friends because I was like, guess who I'm on the phone with right now? And I like freeze because I'm like, there's no way he just said that. He said it. And he's like, and I just can't get you out of my head. I was like, wait, what is happening? Like literally frozen in place because I was like, there's no way this conversation's happening. And then he goes on and says, and I also really like feet. And I'm just like, what the freak? And he was like, yeah, and I really just want to talk to you about it. And so at that point I go, no thanks, and I hang up. And I instantly like call one of my guy friends and I was like, this just happened. What the freak? Like, just really uncomfortable. Like, that is not a phone call I wanted to be having. I felt violated. Like, it's like making me stressed just to talk about it because it just felt really... Nobody wants to get a phone call from a random person they already had weird vibes about telling them that they picture them in that way. This is getting long, so go to part 2.
You had a bad weekend? I had a bad weekend. Okay, so let's talk about this situation really quick. So, I dated this guy 2 years ago, mind you. 2 years ago, we dated for a month, but it was like a situationship before that for a few months. So, like, we were, like, seeing each other for a while. I want to say from, like, January to, like, August. So, there was, like, 8 months there. But the relationship was extremely volatile and, like, emotionally, like, I don't even, like, know how to describe it into, like, proper words of, like, how I felt during this particular segment of my life. I felt like there was a lot of games being played, a lot of mental, like, pulling, and, like, just nothing good. Let's just say it was nothing good. Nothing good. And over the weekend, I've gotten, like, periodic text messages from him over the past 2 years. It would be like a hey here, whatever there. The reason why I never have blocked him, because the one time I did block him, this bitch showed up outside my apartment throwing rocks at my window, okay? You know, I just said, hey, I don't want that to happen again, so let's not do that. So I just muted it and just said, called it a day, because then I don't get the notification, doesn't know I see it, anything like that. Whatever. Well, apparently over the weekend I went out to one of the hometown bars here, and I don't know if he got some inclination of, like, he saw me out there and I didn't see him or whatever, because during the summer here, everyone goes to that specific bar because it's the only one with a patio on it, so that's the one everyone goes to. So, like I said, don't know if he saw me. I wasn't really paying that much attention because I was with my friends. Anyways, I got 4 text messages on Sunday, and then I got a DM on Instagram, and then I got him trying to refollow my spam account on Instagram, and I said, okay, fuck this. There was some other stuff that happened too, but we're not going to put that on the internet. Anyways, I was texting my friends. I was like, what the hell do I do? What do I do? Because he will not leave me alone. And when I tell you, this relationship was, like, not, like, physical, but, like, the mental and emotional games that were being played by him, I couldn't do it anymore. So he started playing those games again on Sunday. And I said, yeah, I'm too grown for this now at this point. I'm not 20 years old anymore. I might be 22, almost 23. But please, literally go fuck yourself. Anyways, I do a little phone a friend to someone I know in the legal field, and I said, hey, what do I do to go about this, like, in the proper way? Because over the years, I have never, like, directly, like, text messaged or anything saying, please leave me alone, do all this other things, because the last conversation we had, I said, please leave me alone, I do not want to hear from you again, and he still continued to do this. So, since, like, nothing, like, he was texting me was, like, harassment or, like, threatening text messages. I guess one of the things he did was a little fucking crazy, but you can't see it as harassment. That's the big thing. And so I got told to just send a text message. Any further messages will be duly noted, and then do not contact me in any way, shape, or form. And then anything after that, I have a little bit more to work with, which is completely fine, because I'm not scared of a little dumbass fucking bitch who's the same fucking height as me, okay? And, you know, I'm only gonna be in my apartment complex and in this area for, like, one and a half more months, so I'm, like, not that scared. And he lives really, like, a house down from me, and you know why he lives a house down from me? Because when we broke up, he had known before we broke up where I signed my year's lease the following year, which is here. And he was like, oh, well, blah, 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 blah. I said, why did you sign at your place? Because he told me that, oh, we're going to be living right next to each other, because he signed at the place right next to me. And I said, why would you do that? And he said, well, because, you know, I had friends that lived there first. I'm like, okay, you fucking fifth year, though. Your friends all are fucking leaving. This was like a year or two ago. So that's why I said all your friends are fucking graduating. Why would you sign somewhere where you don't actually know anybody because they all just fucking graduated? Like, are you on fucking crack? I actually did ask one of my friends. I think he's on fucking crack to contact me again. Because of how volatile everything was, why would you want to contact me again? And plus, I went through a year of therapy to get over this situation because it was so mentally mind-fucking that is why, like, I needed this to just be done and over with. Like, he is blocked on everything. So hopefully the whole situation just, like, alleviates itself. But if anyone else has ever had a crazy fucking ex that will not leave them fucking alone, let me know. Let's talk.
Get ready with me while I tell you about my toxic friend that I cut off after 21 years. Alright, so my friend, let's call her Olivia. Thank you, One Direction. I've known her since kindergarten and everything was fine until we got to high school. She started to get a reputation of being the boy stalker of the entire school. She would somehow find guys' numbers and she would message them, never getting the hint that they weren't interested, and people just weren't too keen on her because they were afraid of her. When it came to boys, there was no boundaries. She actually messaged my sister's boyfriend after she went with me to visit my grandpa while he was in hospice. My sister's boyfriend was with her. She met him for probably 1 second, didn't even say anything, messaged him on Facebook that night and basically said, "Hi, I'm Olivia. We met at the hospital." Girl, why are you sliding into his DMs right now? Not only that, but there was actually a guy that I was talking to. Guess whose DMs that she slid in? He ended up sending me the text messages of proof saying, like, is this your friend? She was hitting on the guy that I was talking to. This is supposed to be my best friend, mind you. We got in a fight. Things were fine. I always ended up taking her back because I'm too much of an empath, and I was just like, okay, you made a mistake. She didn't, though, because we ended up going to college together, and this is where things get really bad. There were these two guys. I thought one was cute. She thought the other one was cute. Her guy was also really interesting. He would keep girls' underwear and put them on his fan in his room. So that's the kind of guy that she was going after. I don't even think I ever spoke to my guy. I just thought he was, like, cute. But this is where it gets bad. So we were in, like, the common room one day, and her guy is passing, and me and her are playing pool. He comes in, and he's trying to be, like, all flirtatious and says, like, oh, like, can I play pool with you guys? She walks away. She goes to sit down on the couch, and then she's looking at me, like, angrily, like, and I'm like, what are you doing? This is your moment to shine. The idiotic guy goes, oh, winner gets a kiss. So I'm like, oh my God, Olivia, what are you playing? Like, this was the perfect setup. The guy he didn't even care. He just wanted anybody. So I was like, listen, he's ready to go. Okay, you really want him. Let's do this. She's just staring at me. So I'm like, okay, this is great. I did not entertain his conversation whatsoever. I ended up leaving with her, and I'm like, we're not doing this. As we're leaving, the guy that I think is cute is passing, and he looks in and he just waves. That was it. Nothing else. A wave. She's still mad. So I'm like, what happened here? She ends up sending me a really long paragraph that night about how she's upset that her guy said the kiss thing when I literally was trying to be her wing woman. And then she was mad that the guy I thought was cute waved at me. So this is just the beginning. Get ready for part 2.
Day in the life with your boyfriend from hell who's cheating on you with ChatGPT. So you told him that you guys couldn't hang out because you were going to dinner with your family. So you're sitting there, you're enjoying your dinner with your family, and guess who walks in? Your fucking boyfriend from straight fucking hell. And he starts asking around the people at the table, like, if he could stay here and eat with us and that he's my boyfriend. And everybody's like, yes, yes, because nobody knows that this man is a straight fucking hell. Sorry, guys, for all the cussing. Anyways, so he's sitting with us, and he got there just in time for when the lady comes around and orders the drinks. And he orders a $15 drink on the menu. I don't even know what it was. It came in this big glass. and it was like blue. It was weird. And once everybody gets their drinks and stuff, he's like, guys, I want to make a toast to ChatGPT. Like, sit down, boys, sit down. And he's like, for being one of the best things in the world and helping us every single day. Nothing about the relationship he's in with ChatGPT, just thanking her, I guess, so, or whatever it is. So now it's time to order food. Once again, orders a 5-star course fucking meal, steak and 4 fucking sides. And I don't know, like, if he thinks that, like, we're paying for this or something, because, like, we're definitely not. My mom's getting my bill and the rest of people are getting their own bills. Luckily, at times where it's the time to pay, and I'm like, thank God this dinner is over. I do not have to deal with anything else. Just for him to turn around and look at me and say, this dinner isn't paid for? I don't have any money. So I take his check and I pay for it. $80 fucking dollars. And you might just think it ends there, but no, it doesn't. You tell him that you're going home to shower and get ready for bed because you have school tomorrow and you're just trying to get to sleep. Just for him to follow you back home too. But it's okay, because this time he leaves frequently quickly. He literally just came in there and got some of his clothes. But then proceeded to spam call you all night long every single time you try to go to sleep. And that's a day in a life with your boyfriend from straight hell. Bye, guys.
Story time on how I broke off my engagement. I know. Okay. It feels a little weird making this video because if you know me personally, I feel like you either expected me to do this video a long time ago or not at all. And I just want to preface by saying that I really only blame him and no one else. So once upon a time, I lived in New York. I was pretty young and I didn't have friends or family there, and I was really just sticking to work and church. And I met this guy about 2 years into living in New York. We met at a youth event, and we had a lot of mutuals, so we already followed each other on Instagram and we had been talking. And when we met, we hit it off and pretty quickly started dating after that. We didn't have like that transition from like friendship to relationship. Everything moved pretty quickly. We dated for about a year, and then he proposed. Again, timeline moved very quickly after that. The apartment I was renting, they actually needed me to move out for personal reasons. Just logically, financially, more than anything, it made sense for me to move back to Oregon. Since I did have a place of my own there, and really moving anywhere else in the city was gonna be like at least twice as expensive as what I was already paying. And obviously, like within planning a wedding, like it just financially it just made more sense to move to New York. It is a conversation that he and I had to move to Oregon or to stay in New York. So we moved and drove across the country during Labor Day weekend, and we got to Oregon on Labor Day. I want to say that the transition for him was, from what I can see, I obviously can't speak for him, but it was very smooth. I think my brother did a lot in like helping him transition from like just church's work. My brother hooked us up, both of us, with a job working from home. Like literally day one we had an interview, and like a week later we both had jobs working from home. So shout out my brother, he's a real one. And this guy fumbled. I'm telling you guys, this guy fumbled. If there was one word to describe this man, fumble. He started making friends at church. He started going out a lot more than I did. I was dealing with things a little differently because I didn't really have the community that I did before I moved to New York. So it was a little depressing for me coming back. But you know, I was focusing on like being with my family again and planning a wedding, which was supposed to be the following August. So September, October go by, and he starts to complain about being homesick, which I get, you know, it was a big move. But again, it is something that we discussed and decided to do together. And I know I said that I only blame him, but I do know that I have a really strong character, and at the time I don't think I was handling stress in a very healthy way, and I do think that played a part in the health of our relationship. But That wasn't the reason why things ended. So December comes around and he's still complaining about being homesick and how he's upset that he's gonna miss this huge event that his church does at the end of every year. Mind you, we're from the same religion, we are from the same ministry. His church does what my church does. I'm still dealing with the stress of the move, the stress of dealing with my parents again, the stress of planning a wedding for my own, and just like, you know, living with my partner for the first time. It was all a lot for me. And so I say, you know what? Spend New Year's Eve in New York, book a ticket, spend the weekend there and get it out of your system. And then when you come back with the mentality that, you know, that as a grown adult, you made this decision and that no one's forcing you to do this. And if you can't, then we'll just have a different conversation. We agree on that. He's excited. He's looking for plane tickets. He books the ticket. This is where things really started to piss me off, because he's on the phone with his mom as he's about to get in the shower. I'm walking by and I hear, yes, my flight lands the 23rd. I come back on the 3rd. New Year's Eve is never from the 23rd of December to the 3rd of January. This was never discussed with me. I didn't know he was going for 2 weeks as his fiance. Okay, they just opened up the doors for church, so I have to go to practice. There's gonna be a part 2.
It's story time, babes. I don't know why I'm feeling like reminiscing on the old psychopath self that was me. I'm gonna try to make this as quickly as I can. So long story short, this was like junior, senior year of high school. I started dating this boy who was a twin. But before that, this girl, I could not stand her. I'm not hard to get along with. I just can't stand the fake people, the people that just like love drama. Her and I were constantly butting heads. She was constantly trying to degrade me, constantly just being whatever. She wanted my man. So you want to know what she did? She started dating the twin brother. But then what she would constantly do in front of not only me, but her man, being, you know, brothers, she'd come up to my man and be like, do you think my hair looks good? Do you think, oh my God, do you think? Mind you, if I dyed my hair blonde, she would dye her hair blonde the next day. If I went back to brunette, the next day she's brunette. And then she'd sit there, do you like it? Now, mind you, these boys' sister, her and I were like this, and we hated her. So we came up with a brilliant plan. Since she wanted to copy me so dang bad, I exercised this 2 times and she still didn't learn. First time, I got a so realistic, like so unbelievably realistic red, and I'm talking bright red wig. Posted up pictures with it. You wanna know what she did? You guessed it, she dyed her hair red. But like, for real. She comes over to the house, I take the wig off. Oh, babes, the soul left her body. Then me, her, and my ex-boyfriend's sister go shopping somewhere, okay? And I kind of look at her, we have the same idea without saying anything. I point out this shirt. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so cute. This is like the cutest shirt. That thing was fugly, okay? She buys the shirt. She's wearing it around, so proud. Just, I mean, ugly shirt, okay? Comes into the house in front of my man at that time again. Do you like my shirt? Do you like my shirt? Me and the boyfriend's sister are laughing our butts off. Well, then I get speculation that this girl is cheating on her man, and I'm not having it. So I dig deep. I start doing my FBI work, okay? I make a fake Instagram account, and it's a woman, and I get to be real close with her. I've got the patience, okay? I then get her to trust me to a point where she, I'm not kidding, sends me photos, videos, timestamps, everything about how long she's been cheating on him with, who it was, when it happened, all sorts of stuff. Finding out the times when this girl, we're gonna call her Ashley, when Ashley would be like, oh, sorry, I can't hang out, I'm out of town for like a funeral or something. I had those timestamps showing that she went on a trip with this man, and I'm eating it up. I'm like, oh my gosh, this means I am finally never gonna have to see this girl again. Because she was kind of smelly too, I'm not gonna lie. I then gather up all this proof and I give it to the brother, okay? The brother's very sad, of course. He doesn't know what to do. And I was like, what would you like me to do? He tells me I can do whatever I want to. Because he knows I haven't liked her. And when I tell you, like, the excitement I felt that day. So, we gathered up all the stuff that she gave to him ever. I'm talking notes, presents, anything. Put that up in a bag, printed up all the pictures, took screenshots from the videos of these two together, wrote things on these things that won't be repeated, drove to her mother's house because her mother would not condone this behavior at all. Very big Christian lady, okay? Really didn't even like her own daughter, so the four of us, my ex-boyfriend, his brother, me, and the little sister, we drive to the house, we put all the stuff on the front porch, we put all the pictures and whatever on the front porch so that her mom, her dad, her brother, and her could all see it. And we didn't really stop there because we just didn't think that, I didn't think that was enough, you know what I mean? This girl had been torturing me for like 2-3 years straight. So then I also knew where she worked, and I was also like this with her boss, okay? Her boss texts me and is like, hey, have you seen Ashley? She said that she was sick, but you know, she was just fine yesterday. I knew exactly where she was. She was at the man's house. And this happened to be her last like straw before she got fired. Could I have lied? Absolutely. Did I? No. I gave her proof that she was at that man's house. You might be asking, well, how did you get proof? I found out this man's name, found him on Facebook, looked at the surrounding area, because he was real big on his truck. So I looked at all the pictures of this truck and found a bunch of stuff that looked relatively familiar. So I was like, okay, this is probably where he lives. Sure enough, we go and find the surrounding area, find a house that looked somewhat familiar. There was the two of them sitting outside. Snapped a picture, sent it to the boss. Done. She lost her job. It was McDonald's though. Like, don't worry. It's not like I ruined her life. Icing on the cake was truly on, somehow, I forget who told me this, but somewhere along the lines from her driving from that man's house that day to go home, she had hit a deer and totally totaled her car, but had no job to fix it. It's probably a really good thing that I've relaxed a lot since then, because I would probably be in jail.
Someone tell me if I am being completely unreasonable here. I don't think I am, but please tell me if I am. So there is this guy from college that I don't think we even ever made out, but maybe we had a flirty thing going. And since then, he follows me on Instagram, and in the last 2 years in particular, maybe even 3, he will message me all the time on Instagram. Mostly commenting on certain photos of cool outfits of mine or things, but in a flirty way. It's never just oh, I love this, you look beautiful. It's very, very flirty, and I'm kind of a flirt, so I love to flirt back, and it's just been this fun flirty thing. I think we've talked a couple times in the DMs, all in the DMs, but that's kind of the extent of it. I don't know how to tell this story without kind of outing him, but I think he kind of deserves it, so it's fine. He does not live here. I went to school in San Diego, but he's from Puerto Rico. He lives in Puerto Rico. He's a lawyer, and Puerto Rico's home. So he, the other day, by the other day, I mean 2 days ago, messaged me on Instagram again and said, he was come to Puerto Rico. And he's said that before, and I'm kind of yeah, flirty, whatever. And so I said something kind of flirty back, and he was like, no, seriously, you should come. I was like, so he messaged, so that was there, and I was I think I just somewhat acknowledged it, but just didn't think he was being serious, because this has happened so many times now. So I didn't take it super serious. So then the next day he texts me, and I have not gotten a text from this man since college. And he's like, no, seriously, come to Puerto Rico. You should come in August. And I'm like, oh, he's serious. And I think he's really cute. We have good banter, all of that. We never actually dated or anything. So I'm I just figured it was always going to be this flirty thing. And then I'm maybe I should see him. Obviously, Puerto Rico is not an easy little trip, and I haven't seen him in what, 8 years now. So I don't know. That's a lot to go visit someone. So I'm oh, are you gonna fly me out? And he obviously did not like that. And I was just okay, like, well, I'm going, and I was telling him my summer travel plans in fall. There's a couple like international places I'm going. So I'm like, you could meet me here or you could meet me here. Neither of those worked for him. He like shared one too, didn't work for me. And so he was like, I guess we're just kind of at a standstill. I was like, well, would you want to come to New York? And he was like, oh, are you going to buy my plane ticket? Because using that same argument. And I was like, wait a minute, I didn't say this because I was just like, oh, here we go. It's this princess. I don't know what it is with men today. I'm like, I'm not even, obviously you are inviting me. You took the initiative to say like, what you're basically saying is like, hey, let's like see if there's something here. Maybe come to Puerto Rico. We can, yeah, go from there. And that's like his home turf, his everything, like all of that. So I assume, yeah, I don't know. And I'm not the one that reached out and initiated any of this. Like, I don't know. It's just super weird. So I was kind of like, oh, okay, never mind. Like, don't worry about it. Too bad it didn't work out kind of thing. And then he like did not let it go and kept harping on it and kept kind of being like, he like sent me this meme last night about like a girl asking to be flown out or something like that. I don't know. And I'm like, I don't think, I told him this. I was like, oh, I really didn't think it was a crazy ask. Like, you're inviting me to come to Puerto Rico for a first date. Like, that's kind of a lot. That's why I was trying to find a middle ground somewhere between our travel that like one of us was already going to or the other one, like, I don't know, to put a little bit less pressure on it because, yeah, obviously he doesn't want to buy my plane ticket, which, whatever. And then he responded just being like, oh, I was kidding. Am I being crazy? Is that a crazy ask of me to say, like, oh, you want to see me? Like, would you buy my plane ticket? I don't know. This man literally made me feel like that was the most gold digger ask of me, but I really don't think it was. Unfortunately, I have a weird affinity for broke men, and the last few things I've been in, I don't know what it is. I think broke men are just extremely affectionate. This man's not broke by any means, like, let me clarify that, but just in terms of like me spending money on the guy kind of thing, I don't know what it is. Some part of me, maybe I love charity. I don't know. But I feel like broke guys are so affectionate because they can't offer other things. So maybe that's what's getting me. I don't know. Let's psychoanalyze that later. Anyways, tell me what you think. Oh my God, you guys. So I called him out over text and then he just said, let me find a place to stay and I'll come to you in New York. Okay, he's not totally crazy. Okay.
Get ready with me while talking about my ghost story experiences. And while I'm going to be talking about it, I'm going to do really light makeup today because I have a modeling interview at 5 p.m. So I'm trying to not look too cakey today because I want to look as natural as possible. So let's just get right into it. The one that I'm going to be focusing on today is when I was 9 years old. We were in this house for, I don't even know, I think we were in this house for a good 5 months or so. And then this started happening out of absolutely nowhere. And some of it I blocked out because of how bad it truly was. So anyways, I was going to bed one night and it was like any other night. I was in bed, I already got ready for bed. I am looking at the other side of the room. So the door, like for instance, the door is on this side. The bed is right in the middle and then there's a window right there with curtains. It's like pretty much like probably 9 p.m. at this point. So I was looking this way, and in my peripheral, I see this dark-haired woman, like imagine the girl from The Ring, okay? Basically that. Her hair covering her face in like this white hospital gown. She was in the corner of the room. I thought I was honestly, I thought I was tripping, honestly. I didn't know what I was looking at, like in my peripheral, so I quickly look over there because I'm like, what the hell? And I've always been really sensitive to stuff like this. Ever since I was pretty much born, I've always had ghost experiences and have been able to see the supernatural. So I've always believed in that stuff, but I did not want to believe in this because I was so scared and it was the most evil feeling I've ever felt when I noticed this. So that was the first time I ever saw this, and for the next couple of nights, it keeps appearing. Every single time I'm not looking in the corner of the room, in my peripheral, I will see this figure. It's I just promise you, it's not in my imagination. I can like physically see this person, and it feels like they are in this room with me. It was so at this point, I'm not getting too much sleep at all. I have a really hard time sleeping, and because every single time I look away, this figure is there, and I'm afraid that it's going to get me or something might happen to me. So basically, my new routine is I keep this eye closed and this eye open, so then I don't have to deal with it, because if I don't see it, then it won't get me, because I was that afraid. So every single night I would do this, close this eye, and just go like this until I pretty much fell asleep of exhaustion, because I just did not want to fall asleep when this figure is right there. And by the way, this happens for exactly 6 months, of a 6-month time period, which it's kind of weird that it happens for 6 months when, I don't know, when I was a kid, I was like, that's kind of weird, because I was really afraid of like the 3 6s, you know, because it just targets bad energy and stuff. So that's pretty much what my mind went to. And I'm going to talk about the last night this have ever happened to me. It was the worst night of my life and the most scariest, and it gets even scarier than what I have talked about previously in this video. So on the last night this ever happened, I saw at least 10 ghosts in the same exact room. I don't know if it was just one and it was just like messing with me because I was easily afraid, and I was giving it the power and energy because of how afraid I've been for these past 6 months. But I noticed that this black figure, this black-haired woman, is now going towards me when I look away from it, is now fully walking, not standing in just the one spot. It is now walking towards me, getting closer and closer. So I have to keep looking at this figure over and over again so it doesn't get too close to me. Because what if it gets all the way close to me if I don't look back? That's what I was thinking about. And then 5 minutes later or so, this all happened in like the same exact night, I see this other figure, and I think it was like a man, and my parents had a clothesline, like a hanger, and it was like open close, just like, you know, in the middle of the room, like next to the mirror, and there was a mirror. In the mirror, I saw this man peeking out at me, looking at me behind the clothes, and it was peeking me through the clothing, if that makes sense. So that night was the most scariest night of my life, because it gets even worse, obviously, because why would it stop there? So basically, I see another figure. So I'm trying to fall asleep. I open my eyes, and I see this figure at the end of the bed melting down underneath the bed. Like, its face, it's melting, and it's going like in a weird motion like that. It's melting under the bed, and I'm watching it visibly. I am looking at this figure. I knew that it wasn't just my mind playing tricks on me, because I've been seeing the same figure for the past 6 months, and now all of a sudden I'm seeing so many different ones in the same night, and that was the last time I ever experienced that ghost. Anyways, moving on from that terrifying experience, I'm going to be talking about something that is more peaceful and that I didn't really get any bad vibes from. And this was the first ghost experience that I have ever had when I was 6 years old. That I can remember, by the way. But pretty much this was, I think, a different house, the house before the scary experience that I had to deal with. So I dealt with a lot of pet deaths at this point in my life, like my grandma's dog dying and a couple of other of my pets dying. I don't know which one it was, but I think it was an animal, like one of the dogs that have passed away, or that my cat that had passed away. So basically, I am in the living room with my dad, and I think my mom is also in the living room. I'm right next to my dad, and then I look up, and I'm the only one that can actually see it fully, because everyone else is busy like looking at their phones or looking at their iPads or whatever the hell they were doing. I look up and I see like this wisp, like the wisps from Brave, like Merida, the movie. That's what exactly it looked like, because that was like my favorite Disney movie ever. That was my favorite Disney princess, still is. And I think that's why they chose to show up as that, whoever it was. I think that's why they chose to, so it doesn't come across as scary. And I didn't feel any bad vibes. I actually felt really peaceful looking at this. Even like when I was 6, I even knew that it was nothing bad. And I'm like, Dad, look up. And then he finally looks up after like 10 seconds of me telling him to. And he only sees the end of it. And it like just disappeared. And like he could only see like it for a split second. So obviously he did believe me, but I don't know if they didn't really know what to think about it. And they still don't really know what to think about it to this day. I mean, my mom knows it's a spirit, but my dad's a little bit skeptical of those things. But I am running out of time of sharing like all of my stories, which I do have other experiences. But yeah, I'm going to do another Get Ready With Me soon and just updating you guys about my life. And then I'm going to be uploading more story times. So let me finish up this makeup and then show you guys the finished product. Alright, you guys, this is the final look. Very simple, because I don't really want to, yeah, like I said, I don't want to look too cakey for my modeling interview, but in the next Get Ready With Me, I will update you guys. And yeah, let me know what you guys want next from me, and I hope you guys enjoyed. And I know a lot of people won't believe me about this, and that's fine. I just kind of wanted to share it and see what your guys' thoughts on it. So comment below on what you guys think about this whole scenario, because I don't have any answers for what happened to me, but yeah, anyways, bye.
Hey guys, get ready with me while I tell you about how I found out my ex and my best friend were together. My boyfriend and I broke up in November, and I had a best friend throughout the whole time we were together, and we stayed best friends until after me and my boyfriend broke up. I met my best friend through my boyfriend because they went to the same school, and my boyfriend and her boyfriend were like kind of friends, and we both got together at the same time, like around the same time, and we also broke up around the same time. My best friend asked me if I could block her ex on everything just because she didn't want him to try and get with me, because he would like continuously try and do that while they were together. And I was like, yeah, could you please block my... I have no clue what just fell, but that was loud. Anyways, I asked her to block my ex. She says that she does. I actually go on her phone and block him. And then the next time we hung out, we were like going through her Snap, and I see him, and I was like, why do you guys have a 600-day streak? I thought you like unadded him or something. She was like, oh no, I like blocked him on messages and Instagram and TikTok. Like I just still have him on Snap just for streaks. Like I promise you won't talk like at all. And I was like, okay, that's fine, I guess. But then, like, I go into their, like, messages, and, like, he was, like, texting her. And then, like, he would send her, like, vlogs, and she'd, like, save them in chat. And then he would also, like, save his videos in chat if she wanted. I don't know, it's kind of weird. But I was like, okay, whatever. Can you please just unadd him? She's like, yeah, sure. She unadds him. All of that happened in, like, January. And then in around, like, April, I would say, I went to the mall with this guy I was talking to, and I ran into her there, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, hi, and I introduced them to each other, and I was like, this is my best friend, blah, blah, blah. Around this time, this girl didn't have any friends because all of her friends left her because she was toxic towards them, and she told me her side of the story, and since I was closer with her than her other friends, I believed her, and I tried to make them, like, forgive her and give her another chance. And like I was literally the only person who was trying to get people to like her because everyone started hating her. She used to be like the most popular girl at her school. One of my friends told me that she started like crap talking me. I didn't really believe him just because he didn't have any proof, but like the things that she was like saying like definitely was weird, at least what he told me she said. But one time she told my ex's best friend that I wanted to like do freaky stuff with him while me and my boyfriend were together. That was one of the reasons why him and I broke up, because she told him that. And that should have been like the last straw for me. I should have just ended our friendship there, but she was like, no, I never said that. I don't know why she's saying, or why he's saying all that. Like, I promise you I didn't say that. I decided to believe her because I was like, it doesn't matter. And I told her, like, no matter what happens, I'm always going to choose our friendship over a boy. After I got home from the mall, I texted my friend. I was like, hey, I just saw so-and-so at the mall. She was with her friends. And he was like, oh, Ellie, I need to tell you something. And he said, she was at your ex's house the other night, one-on-one. My stomach literally dropped. I was like, you're joking, right? Like, she has him blocked on everything. What are you talking about? He's being dead serious. My heart has never beat so hard in my life. Also, if you guys hear anything like in the background, it's just my brother. So I call her and she answers and I'm like, so why were you at my ex's house the other night? She's like, what are you talking about? I was like, why were you at his house? She's like, who told you that? I was like, answer my question, why were you at his house? And she was like, just tell me who told you. I said, no, tell me why you were at his house. And she said, I had to talk to him about my ex. And I was like, you couldn't have just called him or texted him? And also, you told me You had him blocked on everything. Why couldn't you have talked to anybody else? And why would you even have communication with him? She was like, I only unblocked him because he was my partner for a French project. And, like, we just started talking from there, and we're just friends. Like, I promise. Like, there's nothing between us. I was like, why would you lie to me and tell me you still have him blocked and you didn't have any communication with him? That's my phone. She was like, I know, I'm sorry. Like, I really, like, don't know why I did that. Please just forgive me. I was like, I'll forgive you if you block him and stop being friends with him. And she's like, I can't do that. I'm sorry. Like, he's one of my close friends. I was like, I'm your best friend. You couldn't, like, just keep one person blocked for me. You could have done it to anybody else. Like, I don't care if it was my ex-talking stage, but my ex-boyfriend that I dated for almost a year, who she has comforted me and seen me cry over him for months and months and months because of all the stuff he did and said about me. And so I straight up told her, I was like, you're a horrible friend and you're a horrible person. I should have listened to everybody and what they were saying about you because I was stupid for defending you. And it would also be different if my ex and I ended on good terms. We did not end on good terms at all. And of course she knew that. She says that they were just friends or whatever, and she blocks me on everything because I told her that I wasn't going to be her friend if she was still friends with my ex. So my best friend chose my ex over me. And then I told this girl at my school what happened because I made her and then my ex-best friend become friends. And that's a whole nother story for another time, but everybody at my school started hating me. And then over the next couple months, I would, like, look at my ex's reposts, and it was all about, like, I can't tell if she likes me or not, like, holy mixed signals, all this stuff. And it was obviously about my ex-best friend because of what his friends were telling me. And his friends would tell me how, like, he would always tell them, like, oh, I'm coming back from so-and-so's house, aka my ex-best friend, or that she was just at his house. And then he would tell them about, like, how he liked her a lot. Oh, but they were just friends. Also try to justify her actions by saying, like, oh, well, one time, like, I told you this guy was cute, and then you called him the same day. I called him because he asked me to model for his clothing brand. I wasn't flirting with him. I wasn't trying to get with him. I didn't even like him, and he's way too old for me and her. We're the same age. I don't know why she's trying to go for people who are like 3-4 years older than us. While she was messing with my ex at the exact same time anyways. So I was just like, I gave up. Like, I don't know what to tell you, bro. Ever since then, this girl has absolutely ruined my life. I have absolutely no friends at my school. I eat lunch in the bathroom by myself. And I can't even make any new friends because everyone already hates me, I guess. And it's all because of these fake rumors or things that have absolutely nothing to do with anybody other than me. I'm gonna finish my makeup and then come back. I never finished my makeup. I will do a story time on why everybody hates me at my school, but other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. Bye.
Okay guys, here is the story time that everyone's been waiting for. So to start off, I worked at a franchise of Dutch Bros in Oregon from December of 2024 to April of 2026. So like a year and a half. To start off, I loved the first 6 months. I was there every single day, just about. I just loved it so much. I loved all my coworkers. I loved my managers, everyone there. And so we got a new manager after the 6 months, and he was just trash. He was awful. Everyone hated him. Even regionals hated him. We got rid of him real quick, but he's not interesting enough to talk about. So we got a new manager after him, and that same manager was dating one of our shift leads. It's a big no to date shift leads, and so she was getting transferred out to a different stand in our franchise like a couple weeks after he got moved back. That same manager used to be the assistant manager at our stand right before I got here, but like I still knew him. I still talked to him before. He was always really nice to me. Everyone loved him. Everyone loved him. As soon as he comes back, literally a week into him being back, I have gotten from literally just about like 75-85% of our stand that he's just so distant. He's like completely different person. Like he's not fun like he used to be. He's just like really condescending in everything he does. And when he came back, he was dating one of our shift leads. that same shift lead came to our stand, I want to say 2 months, like a couple weeks before he came back to us. So she came in very bubbly, very like sweet girl narrative. After a little bit, it became super, super obvious that she was just really insecure. And it was like, at first, like, I could handle it, just like the little reassurance, even though I'm a barista and you're a shift lead. Like, as in, she corrected me one time on something that I did wrong, which I knew I shouldn't have been free pouring, but I still did once. And she corrected me. The entire rest of that shift, she was apologizing, even though I had to tell her, as the person she corrected, don't feel bad for doing your job. Like, that's your job. Like, you should be doing it. Anyways, so automatically, like, she does not have any self-confidence at all. Like, she, like, to the point where she can't even do her job. Because she just, like, she like, hates herself that much. It became really annoying when they started dating, because she would come to me and a couple other people talking about, I think he hates me. I'm undelivered for 5 minutes, so he's mad at me. And just a ton of other stuff, just always thinking he's mad at her, always thinking that he hates her, and that she's never good enough for him. She's not good enough for anybody. He's way too amazing. And so I kind of got really sick of having to reassure someone in their relationship when it's not even my relationship to begin with. So to preface, in May, something happened to me where I just became a little bit more irritable on everything. Like, I was dealing with a lot, and obviously no one cared. It was any of their business, which I don't care. Like, I told, like, probably 3 people in my stand knew, and that was my stand mom and my 2 other, like, best friends that work there. So he came, and I want to say August, automatically targeting me, like, picking on me. Really, he was just rude to me for no reason. Even before I was, like, had an attitude. And so for so 2 months leading up to my first meeting, I came to this one specific shift lead, I want to say close to 10 times over the span of 2 months, saying, hey, I feel like my attitude's been getting bad. I feel like I feel like I'm getting close to a coaching conversation. Is there anything I need to change? And every single time I was met with, Annie, you're fine. I just think you're, like, a dramatic person. I don't think you're gonna have a meeting. You're okay. You have nothing to worry about. Okay, so taking it as I had nothing to work on, I wasn't gonna change anything because I already asked. And so, 2 months later, after the first conversation like that, I get put on a meeting with the regionals. And no one likes a meeting with the regionals, obviously, because that means you're getting in trouble. So I call my manager. I was like, hey, am I in trouble? I have a meeting. He's like, no, like, I can't tell you what it's about, but you're not in trouble. Okay, cool, so I'm not in trouble. Meeting rolls around. It's a 30-minute long meeting. I was bawling my eyes out the entire time. To the point where I was hyperventilating and I couldn't even speak when they, asked me a question because I literally couldn't even breathe. So at this meeting, it was me, my manager, my regional manager in charge of my stand, and the top 2 regional managers in charge of everything. My manager didn't say a single word the entire time, even though they all kind of just stared at me, like, while I was, like, crying. And so they pretty much just told me that they hate who I've become, they miss the person that I used to be when they first hired me, that I go against everything Dutch Bros stands for. They told me that they think I had internal problems going on, even though, how would you guys know? You don't even talk to me. And so pretty much all of this, I had a huge, big personality with big emotions. Again, not your place to say anything about me and my emotions when you don't talk to me. Anyways, so that's when I originally started hating my manager, because I was like, fuck you, dude, like, you're awful and you're mean and you're a liar. You said I was in trouble, and yeah, I was crying for 30 minutes in front of all you guys. So Also, to add on, that manager specifically, another reason I hated him was because my stand mom, my amazing stand mom, set him and that shift lead up together, and she was like her best friend. Let's talk about how she had a perfect score on her review, but she still got demoted and transferred because she was talking shit. When I know damn well your girlfriend was talking the most shit because she would talk shit to me. And also, nothing happened to your girlfriend. Like, she got no repercussions at all. So I originally started hating his girlfriend after that even more, and that's when he started hating me even more and picking on me even more, just because your girlfriend's a piece of shit. Also, not to mention, on top of your girlfriend coming to me to all things in your guys' relationship, she would also complain to me how you were bad in bed. So obviously I'm not going to respect a man who can't do anything for his girlfriend. That's on you. Figure your bedroom situation out first and then start hating me. And also, the other regional manager that was in the meeting cheated on her husband with another regional manager who was also married and who everyone, and I mean everyone, thought was gay. So, there's a couple more affairs that I know about, but I don't hate my regionals enough. I had to cut that last part out because I realized I said a name. But what I was saying was, I know stuff about my regionals too, but I don't hate them because they only didn't like me because of what they heard about me, and the only things they heard about me were from my manager who hated me. So they never had their own actual opinions on me because you guys talked to me like 5 times ever, and that was like for like 5 seconds. So
hey guys, get ready with me while I talk about why I left college after only a semester. I have a little friend with me today, so if you hear movement, that's why. I've been wanting to talk about this for so long, but I never really knew how to bring it up, and then my mom was like, you know, like, you should do a story time. I feel like it might help some people that are in your position or they're about to go to school and they're kind of wary about it. So thanks, Mom, for making me make this. This literally starts all the way back in high school, my senior year. Obviously, we're like getting ready to go to school, like get out of high school. Everyone's kind of done with high school. My high school really didn't prepare us for anything else but going to a big university. They didn't talk about community college. They didn't talk about any other paths you can take. So I kind of felt peer pressured into going away because everyone was going away, and that's the only thing that was really talked about. I always had like an underlying feeling like this isn't for me, and I always kind of knew when I would go to visit schools and do all of that, I never really felt happy anywhere, and I never could really see myself being somewhere. But I kind of forced myself through it, kind of pushed myself, because I do have really bad anxiety, so I was like, okay, like maybe that's just my anxiety getting in the way. Fast forward to the end of senior year, I committed to a school, and I tried to just be like as happy as I could about it. I always knew that I wasn't gonna be happy. I was just trying to look happy because everyone else around me was happy. Alright, now I'm gonna start like nitpicking at like some of the reasons while I was at school why I fully decided that it wasn't for me. Starting off strong is, I feel like, something that everyone worries about but nobody actually talks about is the money. Going into college, all I was really focused about was getting to decorate my room, getting to make new friends, getting to be away from home, and I did not think about how much being away would actually cost. And of course, like, I had some money saved, but I feel like you can never really expect how much it's actually gonna be that you need. The specific school that I went to was $26,000 a semester. That is not including activities, not including like sorority, anything like that. $26,000 flat a semester. My parents are both teachers, and they make enough to where FAFSA didn't give us anything off, but they did not make enough that could fully support a kid going to college. There was always that lingering thought in the back of my head, if I spent any money or did anything involving money, oh, I'm gonna regret this later when I have almost $200,000 in debt, when I have to pay off all this money. My parents did offer to pay for as much as they could, but obviously they're teachers, and good for them, they found a career that they love to do, but college is fucking expensive. I would have had to pay off majority of that money, and it was always just like kind of like a guilty thing in the back of my head. Like I felt like I couldn't do anything because I knew like this costs so much for me to be here. Another thing that was super hard for me was I'm a really big homebody, and everyone said like, oh, like you'll adjust to like living away from home, like living with like a big group of people, and I never really did. I feel like nobody prepares you for what it's actually like to live with hundreds of people your age and literally share a space with them. I was always missing my bed, I was always missing my animals, I was always just missing like being in my own room, and I never got used to that. I'm also one of those people that I just can't go up to someone and start talking to them and like become friends with them. So it was super hard for me to make friends, and I felt like I was very like alone in the whole process, especially because I was already struggling as is. I didn't have anyone to kind of talk to about it, so it was really hard for me. Now, going off of that, I went to University of Iowa, which, if my Iowa people know, it's literally in the middle of nowhere. Like, it is a school surrounded by cornfields. And as a freshman, it's really frowned upon to bring a car because that's when you're supposed to learn the campus, get to know people by walking everywhere. And one of my things is when I feel lonely or sad or anything like that, like literally any emotion I feel, I just want to go for a drive. I want to go do something. Coming from a town where you drive and you have access to everything, it was really hard for me to not be able to just go on a drive, go take time like that in the car. I felt like I was trapped on campus and like literally trapped in this simulation, and I could not get out. One of my friends that was in my sorority, shout out Tess, love her to this day. She had a car, but obviously I'm not going to text her every day, let's go for a drive, let's go do something, because I don't want to use her for her car. Like, that's weird. I hate when people do that, so obviously we're not doing that. I also didn't have money to spend, like if we did go do things, literally was broke because it is so hard to find a job on campus. I started applying for jobs as soon as I found out that I was going to Iowa because I knew my parents made it very clear that if I wanted money to do fun things, that was on me, and they gave me money here and there, but obviously I'm an adult, I need to work for my own money. That's how I always grew up. I always grew up having a job. I always grew up working for my own spending money. If I wanted something, I used my own money. And I'm really happy that my parents did that growing up because I really understood the value of money when I got to school, and just growing up, it made me realize like money doesn't grow on trees. I just looked at Indeed and Handshake combined. I applied to over 35 jobs. And this is starting from the May before I even went to school up until November. I finally got a job near the end of November, but at that point I had kind of already like stuck in my head like I'm leaving. My mom's vacuuming, so ignore that. But it was just a matter at that point of if I was gonna leave at the end of the semester or push through the end of the year. I didn't make it to the end of the year. I left after the semester. Now, with all of these things combined, being stuck, the money aspect, the no friends aspect, that takes a toll on your mental health. Since my mental health was bad, all of those things got worse. I ended up not going to classes. Sorry, Mom and Dad. I would literally just sit in my room and do absolutely nothing because I had no like push to do anything at that point. Especially knowing that I was ending up leaving, I didn't do any of that because I was like, oh, I'm leaving anyways. Like, there's no point. I'm leaving anyways. Which, if you're having those thoughts, don't do that because it taints my GPA. Okay, my GPA sucks now. Okay, anyways, now we're going to talk about one of the pros that made it so hard for me to leave. And this might be a shocker because I was one of those like avid sorority haters. I was like, no, like I'm never doing a sorority. Waste of time, waste of money. Why would I spend money on friends? That was the best decision I could have made for myself. The rush process was so hard, but it was literally rejection therapy. Going through that whole process, you're constantly getting rejected. You're constantly being told, no, we don't want you here, blah, blah, blah. It's hard, but it really helped. And I ended ended up making a lot of friends through not only my sorority, but the process of Rush. Okay, I'm fully out of time, but that I kind of covered everything anyways. I hope this finds someone who needs it, and if you have any more questions, don't be afraid to comment or reach out, DM me. I hope you all have an amazing day. I hope you enjoyed this video that was long awaited. Have an amazing day, and remember, you are worth it. You don't have to follow the crowd.
Let's do a little story time while I do a little bit of nighttime skincare. We first start by saying that my mom and I are no contact. We've been that way for 10 years. I initiated the no contact, but she has never tried to get a hold of me or my kids or anything. So I think it's a kind of a mutual no contact at this point. My mom had 2 children, me and my sister. My sister has since passed on, and she's been gone for probably 12 years, kind of setting the stage for you. My mom used with some crazy punishments that kind of borderline like abusive nowadays. And tonight I'm going to tell you one of those instances. So when we were younger, my sister and I, we shared a room. I'm OCD and I'm a neat freak. My sister was a slob and was not a neat freak. I loved to go outside and play and do all the fun things. I was kind of a tomboy. My sister, on the other hand, did not. She wanted to stay in and color and paint and do all the things, you know, in the house. And like I said, we shared a room. So my mom would always say, if I wanted to go outside, the room needed to be clean, and then I could go outside and play until, you know, the street lights came on. So that's what I would do. I would get up in the morning on the weekend and I would clean my side of the room. And I would go and say, Mom, can I go outside? I clean my side of the room. And she would come and look at the room and say, nope, can't, because the room is still a mess. And I would say, well, that's my sister's stuff. And my mom would say, it doesn't matter. You're the oldest one and you need to have this room clean. So I would pretty much have to fight with my sister to get the room clean, and I would get it all cleaned up and I would head outside to play. A lot of times I'd have to come back in the middle of the day, or like once or twice in the day, to make sure that the room stayed clean, because God forbid my mom saw the room a mess later on. After my sister had been in there all day, she was going to take it out on me. So I would have to sometimes stop what I was doing and come back in the house to make sure that the room was clean. So one time I went to a birthday party. I didn't come back in the daytime to check and see if the room was clean or anything. So I went to this birthday party, had a good time, you know, street lights come on, time to go home. I came home and my mom was pissed. And I knew right away that it was because my sister had destroyed the bedroom and it wasn't clean. And she was upset. So she, of course, is yelling and screaming that, you know, the room is a mess and I was gone all day and, you know, just whatever. And she would yell at my sister a little bit, but it was pretty much mostly me. And I kept saying, you know, I'm sorry, this is never going to happen again, blah, blah, blah. And she goes, of course it's never going to happen again. And at the time I didn't know what that meant. So we got ready and went to bed. So the next day we go to school and we come home from school and we go into our bedroom, and there is a padlock on the door, way up high, a big, huge padlock on the door. And at the time I kind of remember thinking like, wow, my mom must have like a big surprise for us. So she locked the door. I don't know why I was thinking that, but that was my thought at the time. And so nobody said anything. My mom came home from work a little bit later, made dinner. We were doing our homework. Still, nobody said anything about the padlock. Nobody said anything. I'm still waiting to see if we're getting a surprise or what's going on with the padlock. So after dinner, my mom says, all right, girls, you need to go get in the shower and get ready for bed. So I go to the room and I turned around and said, Mom, there's a lock on our door and I can't get in the room. And she said, yeah, you're not going to get in the room because it is a privilege to have a bedroom. And since you guys can't keep your bedroom clean, you guys aren't going to have a bedroom. I was like, well, okay, Mom, I don't have pajamas. I don't have clean clothes. And she's like, yeah, and it's a privilege to have that stuff. And since you didn't take care of your room, you're not going to have it. You're going to go take a shower. And you can put those clothes back on that you have on now. And I was like, what? You know, kind of like, okay. And my sister, God bless her, because she was literally like, whatever, her head in the clouds. She's just like, okay, you know. And I was like, what do you mean we have to put these clothes back on? My mom said you can choose to sleep, you know, in just your underwear, or you can put your clothes back on. So we took a shower, and the whole time I'm like, what? I don't understand this, you know, whatever is going on. I'm young. Take a shower, get out of the shower. I think I just probably put a t-shirt or something on. Get ready, like, you know, we're going to go to bed. And so we go to the door again and can't go in our room, and look down, and there is a blanket and a pillow on the floor next to the door, one for each of us. I said, this is where we're, we're not going to have our beds. We're not going to go to bed. My mom's like, nope, this is your bed tonight. And we're like, oh, okay. And she's like, again, this is a privilege to have a bedroom, and you guys didn't take care of it, so you're not having your bedroom. So you guys are going to sleep on the floor out here. So we got our pillow and our blanket, and my sister, of course, I think was just like, whatever, I am super upset. I am crying. Make our little pallet on the floor and lay there. I remember, like, literally under my breath, like, kind of cussing at my sister, like, what the hell are we, are you doing? I can't believe you did this to us, kind of thing. Like, again, she's probably oblivious to the whole thing. So we get up in the morning, and I'm like, okay, we're going to get ready for school, get our bowl of cereal. I'm like, well, we have to change our clothes. And my mom again says, no, you can wear the clothes that you have on. And I'm like, now I'm panicking. I'm like, I have to go to school and wear these clothes, the same clothes I had on yesterday to school. And she's like, yeah, it's a privilege to have a room and have everything you have, and you guys don't take care of it, so you're not going to have it. Now I'm upset. Now I'm crying. I'm like, Mom, I'm not the one that did this. You can't take this out on me. And my mom's like, well, you're the oldest and you're the most responsible, and, so to speak, like, tough shit. So I remember going to walk to the school bus with my sister, and, like, literally was just almost in tears. And I remembered I had a hoodie, like a zip up in my backpack. So I took the hoodie out and I put it on, and I zipped it all the way up, and I wore it that way so that nobody would see that I had the same shirt on that I had the day before. So I go to school. After school, I'm thinking, okay, just punishment's over. We're good to go. Get home from school. Padlock is still on the door. And again, eat dinner, get ready for bed. Mom, we don't have any pajamas. Oh, well. Now I'm, like, really panicking. Now I'm, like, hyperventilating and upset because, like, I'm like, I have to go to school again with the same clothes on again. Like, what am I going to do? She's like, okay, go take your showers. This time I remember when we got out of the shower, though, she had, like, a big t-shirt and some clean underwear. So I was kind of happy about that. Put on that, back on the floor, outside of our bedroom, laying down again. And, of course, I'm upset and crying. And my mom's, like, yelling, maybe you'll learn your lesson this time, and blah, 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 all the stuff that she used to say. So then the next day comes, and it's school time, and now I'm really panicking because I'm afraid to ask for clothes, but I'm not wanting to go to school. I'm, freaking out or whatever. My mom is telling us, hurry up, you guys got to get ready for school. Well, we had like about 5 minutes before we had to leave for school, and my mom just walks out and just throws clothes down. It's like, here, get dressed, go to school. I'm the kind of person, and I'm still like this today, that I need to lay my clothes out. I need to, like, have, like, a plan here. She just threw down some clothes. I wasn't going to argue. I just threw the clothes on and was super upset all day because I had on, like, the absolute worst outfit she probably could have got me. But at least I had clothes. So went to school again another day. I just remember being so embarrassed. I didn't even talk to anybody. I was just so incredibly embarrassed. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I went to school so embarrassed because of the things that she did. But anyways, went to school super embarrassed and upset. And of course, mad at my sister, yelling at my sister because we're going to have to do this all over again. I didn't know how long this was going to last. This punishment was going to last. Get home from school. Mom gets home, and she sits us down at the table and tells us that this is a privilege, and that if we do it again, we will lose it forever. We'll never have our room or our clothes back, and that room better stay clean at all times. So from that day forward, I was my sister's keeper pretty much, and I had to make sure that room was clean nonstop. I would, like, go outside for an hour, I have to come back in to make sure the room was clean. My sister was a slob. Like I said, she was not going to take any accountability or help me. I mean, I think she tried once in a while, but she really didn't try that hard. And that was how it went from then on until we were a little older. I think we moved to Florida and we had our own bedrooms. But that's how it pretty much went, that I was always the one getting in trouble. I was always the one having to keep the room clean, the clothes folded, the beds made, and everything for me and my sister, or I was going to get in trouble. Well, we would both get in trouble, but I seemed to take it the worst because I was more of the OCD and crazy one. Plus, I was older and understood what was going on, and my sister didn't. But yeah, that is one of the punishments out of many, many, many crazy punishments she used to do to us. That was one of the ones that, like, really sticks in my head now, and I could never, ever imagine doing that to my children or making them feel that kind of way ever.